All right, everyone, welcome to Ask Me Anything. Today is Thursday, so it's time to rock and roll, speak about your tea business. And I think a lot of people around this time of year certainly feeling pretty flustered. There's just so many things going on. And certainly, I would like to say that, you're not alone. And of course, there is also the really important thing that you do try to take some rest, because when you are tired, your brain doesn't work properly, and then there are people around, having their liquid lunches and whatnot, which can really cause, havoc on the road. So please be careful. And speaking of, liquid lunches, certainly, there is a trend of people going more and more towards having healthier corporate gifts, because, while wine is still very mainstream as a gift, certainly, like gifting tea, is a sign of gifting health. It's like if you're giving, your staff a bottle of wine versus, a tin of tea, the message behind it is certainly different. So, there are definitely room for us to grow in as a tea supplier to help customers and potential customers to understand there are a lot of goodness in tea, and it can be that goodness, that message can turn into a lot of different stories, and certainly some of them would be more aligned with your own way of selling tea. Some people are selling because of the fun part, and others because of the health part, and so on. So I do want to encourage you to take some time to have a think about why someone wants to buy from you. Maybe not at this point in time, if you are very busy organizing, your items to sell and so on. But if you are still actually planning your business, particularly, really, it is very important to think about, why this business for you and why someone would buy from you, because those two things are correlate. If you can articulate why someone if you can articulate why this business for you, which often would turn into some kind of mission statement. You may want to help more people become happier and healthier and so on. Then there is a personal journey story that you can narrate, and that's going to help others to feel almost obligated to buy from you rather than buying it from someone else. We all have bought things because of certain values that we subscribe to, and they may not be exactly the sort of thing that we often buy, but, it was because of that, kind of like supporting the cause, so to speak. So, when we are talking about expanding, your reach and, and broadening, your presence, stand out from the clutter, that's what we're talking about, the why that you're doing it, and, what makes it so special for someone else to support. And cutting through the clutter, especially these days, there are emails and Facebook posts and everything else, there's so much content around. It is even more important to become good at actually putting together your own content. I might be more of, a video gal, but, someone else might be, more, someone want to write, or someone want to go out and run workshop and, party plans and things like that. So we all have our gifts, our talents, and it is important to recognize that and maximize that. Because, like, for the longest time, I kind of feel like, I don't know whether I should do YouTube, and golly, or do I need to dress up for it, all that pro quality stuff, that imposter syndrome and all that kind of stuff. Certainly, it is part of the personal growth that you will realize that, what, I know a little more than someone else, and that is my gift to the world, and that's what you can make a difference. And, it might be something, that you make really awesome mocktails, or you might really know your Japanese tea because you study in Japan, whatever it might be. There's something there that is very personal, and it can expand into something that you can cut through the clutter. So really get good at that storytelling is absolutely essential. And I welcome a conversation with you, to really go and draw out some of these specifics to help you to stand out from the crowd. There are definitely no shortage of tea suppliers. So yeah, why would someone want to buy from you? Have a think about that. And yeah, I welcome that conversation with you. You can totally find me, online, where to look me up. So send us an email or give us a call, and let's get something going for you that it's going to make you happy when you're doing it, which means that it will become sustainable for you to do it again and again. Alrighty. The other topic that I have a request for is iced tea. Yes, in Australia, certainly it's getting hotter. And I've come across a lot of people actually drink iced tea in winter. It's interesting. I guess it's almost a bit like, eating ice cream in winter. It's got a special spot in our heart. It's funny. So iced tea. And of course, often when we talk about iced tea, it also comes down to fruit tea. I want to just quickly touch on iced tea, and this is like the easiest trick you can do when it comes to making iced tea, and that is any tea can turn into iced tea. But the important thing is double the strength. So brew it like normal with hot water, but double the strength. You don't necessarily need to brew it double the time, but you need it a little bit longer. And some tea, if you brew it too long, it definitely will taste bitter like green tea. So that might not be a good idea, but double the strength, you're gonna get that oomph. And then what happens is you go and get a glass, half fill it with ice, pour the tea in, give it a good stir, and rock and roll. It's ready. Literally that fast. That's why, especially if you are running a cafe, there is absolutely no reason why you are not doing your own iced tea. Don't sell the bottle stuff, become the rep for, these big brands. Go and make your awesome iced tea. It looks so much prettier than in a plastic bottle as well. And when it comes to fruit tea, which is often something that people think about as well when it comes to iced tea, is the fact that the dry fruit, like dry strawberry, dry pineapple, and so on, they don't have enough flavor on their own. So when you look at buying fruit tea, whether it's from us or from some other people, it would typically look a bit like what you're seeing here on the screen, the love berries, because it is actually a tea that essentially is a bunch of botanicals, petals and fruits and roots and leaves and so on. And then they add the flavor on. So like Loveberry has got the organic strawberry flavor. A lot of fruit teas out there just have either natural or nature identical flavors. And so really at the end of the day, when you see berries or no berries, it almost makes no difference at all because it doesn't actually affect the taste. It affects your psychology when you buy it because you think, oh yeah, there's some berries there, yeah. So you still probably want to do that. It's just like pina colada, with the pineapple and stuff. They really don't have enough taste. You do actually need to add a flavor to it. But it's those little pieces of fruit that make you feel, or your customer feel, that it is something that is natural. So when you are presenting a product, think about the psychology as well as, what functionally, it's able to do, from a characteristic mechanical perspective. So in terms of, fruit tea, if you want everything to be completely natural, then you cannot really be looking at these types of tea. You'll be probably looking at some fruits that just naturally taste right. So, for example, the whole berries that, you can see here, those little kind of ring with red rind and skin with sort of beigey colors, fruit flesh. Those are whole berries. So whole is not hawthorn. It's a Chinese fruit and it's quite sour and tart. On its own, it tastes fine, but it is sour and tart. Say, for example, lemon, people often ask about that. Dry lemon, unless you only have the flesh, and typically you will have the rind and so on, you can only put a tiny bit in the blend. Otherwise, it starts to taste really bitter. Anything with citrus rind, basically, you can only use sparingly. What else? Blueberries, raspberries, and generally berries, they don't really work on their own. It has to have a flavor. Then there are others like, for example, wolfberries and the Chinese red jujube that we just talked about in the Facebook Live, He Drinks, She Drinks. Those are great, but they are pretty mild, right? So they don't really give you that fruit lolly kind of taste. And really, when it comes to that kind of flavor, that strength, you really got to add a flavor to it. So keep that in mind. And I mean, the world is full of these flavor stuff, and certainly there are people who will totally steer clear of it. But most people, generally speaking, they want to see that it is more natural than the fruit infusions. It's still, a very ideal solution. And to make iced tea with these, same deal, double the strength, strain, pour into a half glass of ice, and off you go. And of course, you can really make some amazing fruit teas and iced tea. And I'm just going to show you this new puppy. This is our Chill with Tea book, and this has just been printed out, and we will be doing some promotions with it very soon. In fact, some of you guys have already got the Chill with Tea book pack, which will contain this book as well as the soda water machine. And look, I mean, you can do really amazing, sexy mocktail looking things. And adding soda water to tea actually tastes quite good. I've never tried before, but yeah, because of this partnership, it's definitely, opened my horizon, my eyes. Chill, fizzy drink, chai. And of course, there is all these different options as well. So yeah, definitely there are really tons and tons of ideas that you can present, to make your tea really jump out. And these are also things that can help you to cut through the clutter, because people are really looking for experience. So this sort of thing definitely helps. So with that said, I think, we kind of covered the fruit teas. There are definitely, all these different types out there, and you may notice a lot of them actually taste very similar because they all have very similar base ingredients, which is typically hibiscus for its redness and its sharp tartness. Rosehip is kind of like a milder form. It's not as red and it's not as tart. Sometimes, maybe some apple pieces. Again, apple on its own, it's absolutely bland. So the apple usually is there to help to absorb the flavor, to retain it, to keep it there. What else is there? Elderberries. Again, if you are doing a berry blend, having some elderberries, and it is, a cheaper product compared to like strawberries pieces. So, you can actually make it look very berryful, but not really, turning into $100 kilo type tea. So, there are definitely, when it comes to making a tea, creating a recipe, there is one end of it that is really important. Of course, it's the flavor, especially after the hot water is in, whether it's got enough oomph. Some tea smells delicious, but once the hot water in, the magic's gone. But the other side is also the economy of it and the consistency. If you have something that is quite hard to source reliably throughout the year, then you might want to do it as a limited edition, or you're going to bump into trouble at some point. Some of these herbs are just, or fruits are just a bit difficult to retain. Its look, its freshness, and so on. And like, for example, apricot, every now and then, or dates, we have people asking for them, but they are very sticky. And if you cut them into cubes, you have to powder it with something, which again, of course, affect the look of your tea, and also affect the the actual composition of the tea, which can impact the flavor of the tea. So when it comes to fruit tea, it's like there are a lot of options, but then they're not really, because the typical base are the really safe components, as I mentioned, those few hibiscus and so on. And so because of that, a lot of fruit teas would actually taste quite similar, with that same base taste. It is really quite hard to actually branch out of that and get a really stable brew that has got really good oomph that you can consistently reproduce in a good price, sort of thing. So I hope this helps you, when it comes to understanding fruit tea and selling them or sourcing them. If you are interested in the other fruit teas that I was talking about, one I would recommend you to look at is jujube, Jujube. Jujube is a really lovely fruit that you can eat as well. There's no flavor, nothing in it. You soak it, essentially it's like date, and you can use it like in sticky date pudding. You can drink it, of course. I remember I drank tons and tons of it after childbirth, because in Chinese culture, that's your blood replenisher. So as after surgery, after childbirth, that's the tea you just kind of just pump your system through it. And it is very nourishing. And jujube is great, as a dry fruit for kids as well. So some of these are really good, fruit that you can not just soak it, but you can also eat them. But when it comes to the fruit flavor teas and so on, you sometimes may see apples in it, like Turkish apple, and generally they're no good to eat because they have just pumped so much flavor in it that it becomes, it's not really something for eating, but it's something to carry the flavor and the fragrance. So it's just far too strong just for standard eating. Alrighty, so I hope this helps you, the iced tea, and declutter. Stand out from the clutter, from the busy marketplace. And I hope you have a fantastic Christmas trading. And of course, if you are looking at topping up before Christmas, please think out now, because it's just getting busier. I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to getting the Lapsang and the Earl Grey. The Lapsang is here. The Earl Grey is not quite, as I mentioned on a recent newsletter. We are actually trying out a very special way of getting the Earl Grey in. And if you go to our Earl Grey wholesale product page, you will see it. So yeah, I look forward to, continuing the conversation with you next time on Tea Business. And yeah, if these calls are useful to you, please, please, please do actually give us the comment, give us the thumbs up. And so we know, how we can help you, especially getting into December. I know some of you guys are ready for holidays, and others are just like totally going to get ready to, really charge forth with your Christmas sales. So, the next couple of calls, I really want to make sure that there is something that is going to be helpful to you. So if there are any topics that you're interested, please do let me know. All right, show's over. Let's get back to work. I'll catch you next time. Take care.